Okay, today we are going to be learning about trapezoids. Trapezoid is a certain type of quadrilateral with specific properties. Okay, the first thing is to watch the video, which you're watching right now. Okay, so the first thing I'd like you to do is visit this site right here and make sure you translate if you need to translate. But let's visit the site right here. It takes you here, and this is what we're learning about today, trapezoid, okay? What is a trapezoid? It's a flat shape, 4 straight sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, and one pair of opposite sides are parallel, only one. So these arrows show that these two sides right here are parallel, but the other sides are not parallel. So we learned that a parallelogram has all 4 sides that are parallel. Trapezoid only has 2 opposite sides that are parallel. The other sides are called legs. So let's go back to Canvas and let's go ahead and open up this lesson notes for trapezoid. So go ahead and click on that. Okay, so when you open this document here, this will tell us some of the key properties that we're going to use to do today's assignment. Again, this is a trapezoid here. This side here is parallel. And this side's parallel, so let's go ahead and mark that. So this side, oops, I guess not. That's not going to work. Okay, so this side and this side are parallel, and this side and that side are the legs. Okay, so again, what we know is that one pair of opposite sides, these two right here, are parallel. Different base angles are supplementary. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this in Kami so I can take some notes here. If you want to do that, remember, you can make a copy so you can do the translation, right? Okay, so let's see what we got over here. So first thing is this. Remember, there should be arrows here. And let me get my pen. So this arrow here and this arrow here show that these two sides are parallel, this side and that side. And then again, these are going to be your legs. Okay, so it says the first thing we notice here is that different base angles are supplementary. What does a different base angle mean? Different is not the same, right? And so that means maybe this angle here. And what is a different base angle? It's an angle on this base right here. So a different base angle would be over here. So any two angles that are adjacent, this angle here plus this angle here, this is going to be equal to, if I make this say x and this is y, x plus y equals 180 degrees, okay? That's always the case. Same over here. So if I have this angle here, maybe this is angle A, angle B, then A plus B also equals 180 degrees. I hope you see that green. So that's the way the trapezoids work, okay? So the next thing is, what if we have an isosceles trapezoid? An isosceles, if you remember, you may want to look it up, but isosceles means that the legs are equal in length. So that would mean something like this, okay? This shows us that they are the same length, okay? So whatever this is, these two are the same length. So if this is 10, for example, then this would be 10, for example, okay? So they are equal in length. Now, it also says the same base angles are congruent. What does that mean? It means that they're the same base, so if I'm going to use this base, then this angle here is congruent to this angle here. And not these two here, but the whole thing, from here to here, and from here to here. Also, these are the same base. Let me do this one. Let me pick a different color. Let me say, let's do yellow. So that means this one here is also equal to this one here, because they're on that same base right here. They're the same base angles, okay? But that's only if it's isosceles and you see something like this that tells you it's the same, okay? Finally, diagonals. Remember, diagonals are something that cut this in half like that, right? If it's isosceles, then these right here are also equal, okay? So if this one right here, if that is equal to, say, 15, that means this one is also equal to 15. They're going to be the same, okay? So that's how it works. So if you want to get a little bit more information, you can go back to that website I showed you. But those are the main things we're going to use today to do today's assignment. Okay, so let's go back to Canvas and open up the assignment. Remember, make sure to download it so that you can open it in Kami, okay? So here we go. Oops. Okay, so here is our assignment. Trapezoids, and let me pick a better color. There we go. Okay, so the first question we get is figure ABCD over here. ABCD is a trapezoid, and we're going to use it to answer questions 1 and 2. So the first thing it tells us is that angle A is 50 degrees. So I'm going to mark that up. Okay, so maybe I'll do something like this. So angle A is 50, right? Okay, what is the measure of D? What is the measure of D over here? So that's what we're looking for. That's our X, right? Well, if we remember from our notes, where'd it go? If I can find my notes. We know that if you've got a trapezoid, any two adjacent angles are supplementary, or they sum up to 180 degrees. So we can use that to answer the question. Where's my assignment? There it is. That means that over here, oops, get rid of this. That means that these two together, 50, are adjacent angles. So we can go 50 plus X equals, equals 180, okay? And then, of course, we subtract 50 from both sides. So X equals 130 degrees, okay? So that's how we can figure out the measure of angle D. It then says angle B is 30. So now we can mark this one in over here. So this is 30. Okay, angle C, this one over here, I'm going to write this over here, is 4x plus 114. What is the value of X? This X right here. Well, again, we know that this one here, these two together, let me do this in a different color, that we know that these two right here are equal to 180. So we can take this angle and the 30 degree, and I'm going to write it up here, okay? So I can write it up here. I'm going to go, let me do it in black, okay? So I can go 30, which I get from over here, plus 4x plus 114 is equal to 180 degrees. So you may want to try to solve that. And, okay, I'm not making you watch the algebra, but basically this would be your equation. So what you do is I combine these two together to get 144, the 30, and the 114, and got that equation. Subtracted 144 from both sides. Got 4x equals 36, divided by 4, both sides, got 9. So that's how we get number 2. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Now I crossed this out and put PQRS because this is PQRS. There was a mistake, but by the time you get the assignment, it should be fixed. But the important thing is that this figure right here is an isosceles trapezoid. Do you see the little marks here? That means that this side and this side are equal. And if you remember when it's isosceles, right, that these sides are equal, these angles here are equal, these angles here are equal to each other, and the diagonals are equal. So we're going to use those properties, okay? So the first thing we get is it says if S is equal to 65, so that's angle here. So let's go ahead and mark this one up. So this is equal to 65. What is the measure of angle R? Well, it's the same, right? It's the same. So these are going to be the same, 65 also, because they're common base angles. So that's very easy if we know that. Okay, it says if angle P is 7x plus 52, so that equals 7x plus 52, that's going to be this one right here. So maybe I'll write that one over here. So 7x plus 52. Okay, what is the value of x? Well, now over here, I had this angle so I could get this one because those are the same. I'd like to have that angle, but I don't. But what we do know is that this angle plus this angle are equal to 180 degrees, okay? So because they are adjacent angles, right? They're adjacent angles. Like we learned over here, any two adjacent angles are equal to 180 degrees or supplementary. So that means I can go 7x plus 52 plus this angle here is equal to 180 to get an equation. Okay, from there, I'll let you see if you can solve the answer for x, but you can pause it if you want to and come back. Okay, so here's a solution. So we combine those two to get 117 here, and then we subtract 117 from both sides to get 7x equals 63, and then divide both sides by 7 to get x is equal to 9, okay? All right, good deal. Now, the next thing we have is that side. Actually, I did the wrong thing here. Let me erase this. Okay, so it says side PS is 40. So PS is here and here. So this would be 40. And it says if QR is 6x minus 20, so this one, 6x minus 20, what is the value of x? Well, if you remember from our notes, opposite sides are equal. These are the legs, are equal. So this one is telling us that this is 40, then this must also be equal. So our equation would be 6x minus 20 is equal to 40. Okay, so I'll let you try the math, the algebra, and come back and try it out. Okay, so once we set up our equation, we had to add 20 to both sides. Remember, this is minus 20, so we got to add 20 to cancel this out, and then we divide by 6. Okay, so that's how you do the first 5. Now we can do number 6 as well. So we see that Km is 5. What's Km? Oh, Km is actually right here. Okay, so that's 5. And JL is 6x minus 31. Okay, so those are the diagonals. Those are not the sides, but we want to find the value of x. Well, from our notes, we can see that if it's an isosceles trapezoid, which it is, that this diagonal is equal to this diagonal, okay? So that means our equation is going to be this, which is 5, is equal to this. Okay, so that would be our equation. So the next thing is we need to just go ahead and solve for x. Okay, so I went ahead and I showed you the steps of how to solve it, which you should know how to do. But if you do that, add 31 to both sides, you get an answer of 6 for question number 6. Okay, so questions 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are all practice questions. They're the same kind of questions, so go ahead and try those. And then also we have more questions over here. They're a little bit different, the structure, but when it says find the measurement of the angle, you're looking for the question mark right here, right? You're looking for the question mark. What is that equal to? Same over here. If it asks you to find x, you're doing the same thing, but you're solving for x, okay? And so you're going to have a few more questions. Again, sometimes it's the question mark, sometimes you're solving for x. So that is what we're doing today, and those are the notes. So make sure you enter your answers back in Canvas when you're done down here.